Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WNBC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. It's tough to imagine a more unsettling situation for the NYPD right now than what we're seeing unfold with Commissioner Edward Caban. A man who served this city with dedication for decades is now expected to resign amidst rumors of a federal investigation. He hasn't even been accused of a crime, but the writing seems to be on the wall. On the one hand, it seems a shame that someone's career can be derailed based on whispers and suspicion. Caban's legacy is now tied to allegations he hasn't had the chance to publicly defend himself against. But on the other hand, maybe this was inevitable. When the federal government is seizing phones and issuing subpoenas to top city officials, including Caban's brother, you can't just ignore that. The allegations involve possible corruption, and if even part of what's being whispered about is true, you have to wonder, how could someone in such a high-profile position be so reckless? And why involve his own brother, no less? For someone with as much experience as Caban, it feels like a colossal blunder. What's fascinating here is that this isn't a left versus right issue. It's both sides. When you've got the conservative New York Post editorial board and progressive city council member Lincoln Ressler calling for your resignation, you know the pressure is coming from all directions. When both the far left and the far right want your scalp, they're probably going to get it. This isn't great for the NYPD, and it's certainly not great for New York City. We're already in a period of strained public trust in law enforcement, and the last thing the department needs is another scandal, especially at the top. The hope now is that this is limited to just a few individuals and that the fallout is minimal. Unfortunately, this is likely to include the school's chancellor, David Banks, and his brother, Deputy Mayor Philip Banks, and their brother Terry, and multiple other deputy mayors. It's looking like this could just be the tip of the iceberg. I certainly hope that's not the case, but it's looking like it may be. The city can't afford more distractions from its top cop. We need leadership that the public and the rank-and-file officers can trust. If Caban steps down, it leaves a significant hole, and filling it won't be easy. But perhaps it's the only way to move forward. We'll see what happens, but we are going to be hearing a great deal about this for the next few weeks. I expect that there's going to be a lot more news made on this in a hurry. It's difficult to keep track of how many investigations there even are at this point.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WNBC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everybody. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. As an animal lover, I'm always outraged when I hear stories about people abandoning their pets. And now, thankfully, New York City is looking to get a lot tougher on this. The New York City Parks Dept has proposed new fines that would punish anyone caught dumping their pets in public parks with a $1,000 penalty. This is in response to a tragic case earlier this year when a 5-foot alligator nicknamed Godzilla was found in Prospect Park. Godzilla was suffering from the cold, and after being rescued, She later died. An autopsy revealed she had swallowed a bathtub stopper, something no animal should have to endure. This incident really shines a light on how reckless and cruel abandoning an animal can be. It's not just exotic pets like alligators that are being dumped. Park rangers often find dogs, rabbits, even turtles left behind. Mark Santiago, a deputy chief park ranger, pointed out that many people leave their dogs in parks hoping someone will pick them up. But more often than not, that's not the case. These animals are left to fend for themselves, and they rarely survive in the wild. What frustrates me about this is the sheer selfishness. These aren't wild animals. They're domesticated pets who rely on humans for care. When they're abandoned, they suffer and usually die. It's simply heartless. And not only is it cruel to the animal, but it's also dangerous for other park goers and disruptive to the park's ecosystem. City parks are designed for native wildlife, not for discarded pets. The good news is there are alternatives. If someone can't take care of their pet anymore, they can surrender them to one of the city's animal care centers where they'll be taken care of properly. It's far better than leaving an animal to die in a park. In addition to fines for abandoning pets, the Parks Department is also looking to raise penalties for illegal dumping in general. The fine for dumping trash could go up from $1,000 to as much as $5,000 for a first offense and up to $10,000 for repeat offenders. These are steep fines, but I think they might be necessary. The bottom line is, anyone who cares about animals should be outraged by this behavior, and I think these new rules are a step in the right direction, both in terms of punishing people that are really behaving in an inhumane way, and also just discouraging them from doing that in the first place. We have a responsibility to care for the animals we bring into our lives, and anyone who doesn't do that should be dealt with harshly.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Today's congressional hearing with former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo promises to shine a spotlight on one of the most controversial aspects of his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, the high number of nursing home deaths in New York. For many, this hearing has been a long time coming, a moment of reckoning for Cuomo and his administration, but the question is, will it finally give us real answers or just more evasion and finger-pointing? At the heart of the issue is Cuomo's March 2020 directive that required nursing homes to accept COVID-positive patients. Critics argue this policy exacerbated the spread of the virus among the most vulnerable, contributing to thousands of preventable deaths. Cuomo's team initially defended the decision, claiming it was based on federal guidelines. Yet, evidence now suggests that Cuomo and his top aides may have manipulated the data and the public narrative to deflect blame. The Albany Times-Union reports that a draft of a congressional subcommittee report suggests Cuomo and his aides, including Melissa DeRosa, played a direct role in editing a controversial July 2020 report that minimized the role of the March directive. According to testimony from former state officials, including James Malatras and Dr. Howard Zucker, Cuomo's team not only helped draft the report, but also pushed to exclude deaths of residents who died after being transferred out of nursing homes. This move may have artificially lowered the official nursing home death toll, presenting a rosier picture of the administration's handling of the crisis. Cuomo, for his part, has repeatedly denied these claims, stating that the Department of Health had full control over the report, but testimony from key figures involved contradicts this, raising serious questions about transparency and honesty in the administration's response to the pandemic. What we're seeing unfold now is an unraveling of the carefully constructed narrative Cuomo's team put forward during the height of the pandemic. At a time when Cuomo was receiving national praise for his handling of the crisis, behind the scenes, there were concerns that his legacy would be tarnished by the nursing home debacle. An email from one of Cuomo's aides even warned that the directive could become, quote, the great debacle in the history books. So what does this all mean for the former governor? The congressional investigation appears poised to dismantle many of the defenses Cuomo has maintained for years. Whether it leads to legal consequences or not, it could be a devastating blow to his reputation, and I think it probably should be.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
The Common Sense Caucus of the New York City Council is calling on Governor Hochul to temporarily suspend New York City's sanctuary city status. And I have to tell you, this call from this bipartisan group of council members isn't just timely, it's long overdue. I wholeheartedly support their push for the governor to take immediate action, though I'll be honest, I'm not holding my breath. New York City's sanctuary city laws have been in place for decades, although it depends on what you refer to as sanctuary city laws. In its current form, there was a series of laws passed by Bill de Blasio and the City Council, which prohibit the City Council from sharing data with ICE and other government agencies. However, if you look at when New York City first started calling itself a sanctuary city, you have to go back to Ed Koch in 1989. And the whole idea of sanctuary city status was meant to encourage non-citizens, including illegal aliens, to cooperate with law enforcement without fear of deportation. But the world has changed dramatically since then, and so have the threats that we face. In the last few months alone, there have been reports of violent crime involving migrant gangs, including in Central Park and Queens Parks, where police officers have been shot at and innocent civilians have been robbed, raped, assaulted. This is happening right here in our city, and yet the city's hands remain tied by sanctuary city laws that prevent cooperation between local law enforcement and ICE. More disturbingly, just this past June, several nationals from Tajikistan with ISIS-K ties were arrested for plotting terror attacks in New York, LA, and Philadelphia. Combine that with a recent Department of Homeland Security report highlighting the flaws in border vetting, and it becomes clear we're dealing with a very real escalating security threat. So I ask, how many more wake-up calls do we need? Governor Hochul has the power to waive sanctuary city laws temporarily under her emergency powers, and the Common Sense Caucus is absolutely right to demand she do so. This isn't about turning our backs on immigrants. It's about ensuring that New Yorkers are safe in their own city, something we can no longer take for granted. But unfortunately, the political reality is pretty bleak. New York City's leadership, particularly in the City Council, is dominated by ultra-left-wing ideologues who prioritize ideology over safety. Even if Hochul were to step up, and I hope she does, it's likely that any long-term change would be blocked by the same individuals who continue to cling to outdated policies. In the end, this shouldn't be a partisan issue. It's about protecting New Yorkers from violence and terrorism. And if that means rethinking or suspending sanctuary city policies, so be it. Governor Hochul, the ball's in your court. Do the right thing. For now, I'm not holding my breath.
Beam me up!
To be continued.